My name is Lily, a 39-year-old full-time mom and homemaker to my lively 5-year-old daughter, my husband, Ben, and I share this family life together. Despite our busy home, there's still a feeling of distance between me and my siblings. I have an older brother, Ryan, and a younger one, Tom, but over the years, we've grown apart. Growing up, there was a clear gap between us. Ryan and Tom were always close, going on adventures together and leaving me out because I was a girl. Even now, as adults, they're still very close, even living together. Since I got married 10 years ago, I've been more distant from them and wonder what's going on in their lives from far away. Loneliness has always been a part of my life, which is why I decided to keep my family small and only have 2 kids, because of that feeling of being excluded as a child. But then, unexpectedly, our daughter arrived, filling our home with joy and warmth. Now, my life revolves around Ben and our daughter, and I rarely think about my brothers. Even when I heard that Ryan was getting engaged, it didn't stir up much emotion. But as the day of his introduction to his fiancée, Lucy, approached, there was a buzz in the family. My parents, who had worried about Ryan being single for so long, were busy with preparations, and Tom kept complaining about his own single life. When Ryan finally came in with Lucy by his side, the room was filled with excitement, and it seemed like everything was fine between us. I watched all of this as if it were happening in a different world, far away from my own. "Good luck, Ryan and Lucy," I said, though my words felt empty as I continued making coffee. Lucy came into the kitchen to offer help, but I politely turned her down, asking her to enjoy the party as a guest. She gave me a strange look and, with a smirk, said, "Time really changes things, doesn't it? You used to be so small, and now you're the lady of the house." Her words left me speechless, but I nodded and returned to the living room, trying not to let her affect me. Even though she didn't seem to like me, I decided not to let it bother me, though the discomfort lingered. A month later, my mom invited me to a family reunion, so I went back home with Ben and our daughter. It felt good to see everyone again, and as my family welcomed Ben and our daughter, I felt a sense of warmth. While I was refilling coffee in the kitchen, Lucy appeared again. This time, she sent a chill down my spine with her words. "Lily," she said, her voice dripping with attitude, "I don't want to see you at any more family events. As a wife, you should be going to your husband's family gatherings." I felt anger rise in me but stayed calm. "Don't worry, I rarely come here. My mom invited me today, that's all." "Then don't come if my mother-in-law invites you," she snapped back. I didn't understand why Lucy hated me so much, but I didn't care about her. After all, my brothers had never treated me well, so I had learned to distance myself. I was indifferent. I had found happiness with Ben and our daughter, and that was enough for me. Lucy seemed oblivious to how I felt. "If you don't like me, just stop talking to me," I said, matching her glare. Then she stormed off. Since Ryan married, my mom had been pushing me to attend family gatherings more, hoping to fix things, but after my confrontation with Lucy, I decided to stay away. As long as Lucy wasn't making Ryan unhappy, I could tolerate her behavior. Ryan's marriage was a happy occasion, and I didn't want to ruin that. We didn't interact much, and I convinced myself it wasn't a big deal. I shared my decision with Ben. "Do you really want to be part of a family that treats you badly?" he asked. His support meant a lot. "It's fine. I didn't have a great relationship with my brother either, but I still want him to be happy. If it's just me who has to bear it, that's okay." Ben's words made me feel understood, but the bitterness still lingered. Then, one day, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Lucy. "Hi, Lily, how have you been?" she said, her voice too cheerful. "When I said I wanted to be friends, Ryan gave me your number." Her call caught me off guard. I kept my cool and said, "Is that so? Do you keep in touch with Ryan?" she asked, her voice sharp. I hesitated, feeling nervous and unsure with her relentless questioning. "No, I'm not," I stammered. "Are you lying?" she snapped, clearly irritated. "Even if I badmouth you, no one believes me. How annoying are you?" I was confused and couldn't understand why she was so hostile. Did I do something to you?" "The worst part is not realizing it," she said coldly. "Anyway, you're married, so stay out of this and don't tell anyone I said any of this. If you do, I'll send some scary people I know to your house," she threatened, sending a chill down my spine. I hung up the phone abruptly, my hands shaking, not knowing what to do next. I wondered whether I should get involved in my brother's marriage or talk to my parents about it. I was torn. Then, I felt a hand on my shoulder, and I turned to see Ben's worried face. "You look pale," he said, concern in his voice. His words made me realize just how scared I was. I told him about the call, and his anger grew with every detail. "What the hell is that about? Just block the number, and we can tell your parents or brother right now. There's no way he can be happy marrying someone like that," Ben said, protective as always. I hesitated, unsure, but maybe she's nice when she's with my brother. I should just stay out of it. I'm sure everything will be fine. Do you think this is over? She threatened you, didn't she? She's not a good person. If your brother knew what she did to you, I'm sure. Ben's voice trailed off, and I could feel the anger in him. I get it, but why should I be the one to get involved? I've kept my distance from my brothers for so long. If our little family is okay, isn't that enough? Can't I just leave it alone? I felt the calm I usually keep so well slipping away as memories of being left out as a child flooded back. The pain of feeling invisible to my brothers sparked a deep anger inside me. I knew, though, that Ben wasn't the one I was angry at. I turned to him and apologized. I'm sorry, you've done nothing wrong. Ben pulled me into a tight hug. You've been holding a lot in, haven't you? I'm on your side, Lily. You can talk to me about anything, but I think you need to talk to your brothers too. His words brought a sense of relief, and I decided it was time to face the past and address the issues with my siblings. Though I felt a little better, I knew there was still work to be done. I decided to reach out to my brothers and try to have a private conversation between the three of us, but instead of that call, I received terrible news from my mom. My brothers had been in a serious accident while on a trip to Maryland. I rushed to the hospital, my heart racing with panic. Lucy had only minor injuries, but my brothers were in critical condition. When I arrived, the surgery was over, and by some miracle, my brothers had survived. They were moved to the ICU, and I was allowed a brief visit. Because of the strange situation with Lucy, I kept my distance and stayed quiet. My mom, however, was more concerned about Lucy, suggesting she might need some help. Lucy, you don't have to worry about anything at home. Why don't you stay with us for a while? My mom offered, clearly worried, but Lucy, looking uncomfortable, refused, saying, No, thank you, I'll go stay at my parents' house. My mom offered to drive her, but Lucy insisted she was fine and quickly left the hospital. I felt a little sorry for her. At least she was safe at her parents' place, away from the hospital chaos. Over the next few days, Lucy never came back to the hospital. My parents and I visited often, but at first, my brothers were still in pain and bedridden. Slowly, they started to improve. Meanwhile, their wedding plans with Lucy were on hold, and she was unreachable. My mom took care of things with the venue, explaining the situation. I didn't know how to bring up the issues with my brothers or talk about the strange call I had from Lucy, so I kept visiting them quietly, even though they were lying in bed. Their warm smiles when they saw me gave me some comfort. About 2 months later, I went to visit them alone. As I approached their room, I overheard my mom and brothers talking. If something happens to me, I've made sure Lily gets the insurance money. As long as Catherine is happy, I'm okay, my older brother said, sounding sincere. I felt a rush of emotion hearing this. Then the conversation shifted to Lucy. I feel bad for Lucy, but maybe it was better we didn't invite Lily. She seems uncomfortable around her. If that wasn't the case, we would have invited everyone, my younger brother said. I stood there, shocked. They were always so close to each other and had made me feel like an outsider for so long. My little sister, when she was younger, used to copy me and got hurt. I've done risky things as a man, but I can't let Lily get hurt again. Plus, our sister is always so serious. It's hard to rely on someone who tries too hard, my brother said, his voice filled with concern. Mom laughed, surprised. You thought so much about Lily? Suddenly, I felt a wave of unexpected emotion. We begged Ben to take care of Lily. Those were the days, someone said, laughing. I remembered the look on Ben's face. Seems like he's doing a good job looking after her, just like he promised, they added, but I couldn't laugh along. Tears filled my eyes, and I couldn't look up. How had I been so blind to the love I had around me? In that moment, I made a decision. I left the hospital and went to Lucy's parents' house. When I rang the doorbell, Lucy appeared, looking annoyed. Could you visit my brother in the hospital? I heard you haven't been to see him once since the accident, I asked, bowing my head. Lucy refused flatly. You think I'm going to marry a man in that condition? I've said everything I needed to say. Once everything's settled, I'll call off the engagement. I'm glad we didn't get married, she said, sounding cold. My heart sank at her words. Lucy, didn't you get engaged to my brother because you love him? She laughed bitterly. Don't be ridiculous. I work in insurance, and I got close to him because I knew he had a big policy. His salary seemed good too, but I misunderstood. He put you as the beneficiary. You usually change that to your spouse once you're engaged. After I convinced him, he promised he'd change it to my name when we got married. I don't need a man with those injuries. So, you thought I stayed away so you wouldn't meet my brother? She continued. Yes, if he cared so much for his sister, I thought it would be a hassle, but I won't say that anymore. Don't worry, the accident completely killed my love for him. It's the worst that I got injured too. The accident was partly his fault, so he should compensate me for the emotional damage, Lucy said, her tone filled with disgust. Despite my rising fury, I took a deep breath to calm myself. If you consult a lawyer, you'll see that your demands won't hold up. I said, trying to reason with her. You don't know that, Lucy retorted, her defiance clear. I do, I responded, then continued, but more importantly, about my smartphone. Lucy cut me off. I don't care about your smartphone, she snapped. I see, it's for recording notes, so my phone automatically records all calls, like the threats you made. What do you think would happen if I reported this to the police? I asked, my voice a little more confident now. Lucy's demeanor shifted quickly from defiant to enraged. What the hell are you thinking? Recording people's conversations without permission? That's wiretapping. That's a crime, she yelled, her voice rising with panic. At that moment, Lucy's mother walked in, joining the confrontation. How dare you record her conversation without permission? Give me your phone right now, she demanded, her tone full of authority. Lucy glared at me in disgust. I smiled calmly. I'm actually glad you want to break off the engagement. I wouldn't want someone like you around my brother anyway, I said, before turning to leave. As I walked away from Lucy's house, I felt a sense of freedom, as though I had just untangled myself from a messy situation. I made my way to the hospital, where my brothers were recovering. Both of you, what I'm about to tell you might shock you, but I don't want to keep it from you anymore, I said, preparing myself for their reactions. I played the recording of Lucy's call, letting them hear the full extent of her manipulative behavior. Both brothers were taken aback, eyes wide in disbelief. I then revealed that I had also recorded our earlier conversation when I confronted Lucy, ensuring they heard her true nature. My older brother's anger was palpable. Despite his injuries, he tried to get out of bed, but I had to hold him back. Don't get up. I didn't show you this to make you angry. I just want you to stop thinking about marrying Lucy, I urged him. My younger brother spoke up. I can't forgive her either, but sis, why go this far for us? I admitted that I had overheard their conversation with our mom and apologized for eavesdropping. To my surprise, both brothers shook their heads, expressing regret for how they had distanced themselves from me. We're sorry for being distant. We didn't know how to act after what happened when we were kids, but we've always cared about you, my older brother confessed, his words easing the tension in the room. I smiled, feeling a sense of relief. Thank you, I'm an adult now, I can protect you guys, too. In the days that followed, my brothers made a full recovery and were discharged from the hospital. My older brother officially ended his engagement with Lucy and refused her compensation demands. He hired a lawyer, but of course, no compensation was given. Soon after, my brothers shared Lucy's threats and manipulations with their mutual friends, including the recordings. Lucy found herself cut off and isolated by the people she had once relied on. Since then, life returned to normal. My relationship with my brothers grew stronger, and we spent more time together, making up for lost years. 2 years later, both of my brothers found partners they were truly happy with, and our relationships with their families have remained strong. Looking back on everything, I feel grateful for the journey we've gone through and hopeful for a bright future ahead.